CTV News with Jack Morse.
Firefighters battling a tough blaze in Gravenhurst. Thank you for joining us. That nearly 3-hectare wildfire started Monday, calling on water bombers and ground teams pushed to the limit to contain it. CTV's Rob Cooper was at the scene today. He brings us the details.
A water bomber makes several airdrops over Gravenhurst after a stubborn fire broke out in the bush just after 2 yesterday. The location, north of Beiers Road, just behind some homes.
Yeah, the water bombers were coming overhead, and they were so loud and so big, and then it was just a flood of smoke coming into the property.
Crews were back on scene today, still watering down the wooded area, about 300 feet from the road.
It's about 300 feet to get to the face of the fire. And then the backside of the fire is about 1,400 feet away.
Is the terrain tricky in there?
It's very uphill and downhill and very treacherous. There's lots of loose rocks, lots of roots, not very solid ground.
The Gravenhurst Fire Department says it worked the edges of the fire overnight and running water back and forth to the scene all day, making sure there aren't no new flare-ups or hotspots. Fire departments from neighboring communities all pitching in to help. Despite the rain overnight and into today, people who live in the area say it's been very dry in recent months and are hoping the fire doesn't spread.
There's bombers, a helicopter landed on my pad next door, and just the fire people doing a good job, like really pumping it out.
A little nerve-wracking just because where you live?
Yeah, a little bit. There's lots of smoke.
Fire department is asking people to avoid Beiers Road from Southwood Road to Arthur Schultz, while the pumpers are running back and forth.
Now, at this point, there's no clue as to what caused the fire. The deputy fire chief telling me it is at least 3 hectares in size, could be larger depending on the weather in the coming days. I'm also told that fire crews will be here for the next several days, just in case there are any new flare-ups. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Gravenhurst.
Meanwhile, Huntsville Fire was busy with a structure fire today. This was the scene on Delbrook Road in Lake of Bays. Officials say 30 firefighters were deployed from 4 different local stations, working nearly 7 hours to put out the flames. A police investigation is underway after Innisdale Secondary School in Barrie was locked down this afternoon. The lockdown started around noon, lasting an hour and a half before it was lifted. The school's principal says the police were contacted following an altercation where someone was hurt.
The announcement came on by saying, lockdown, please get into your classroom. The school was in lockdown for about an hour and 30 minutes. There wasn't much information while we were in lockdown.
Barrie police say the investigation is ongoing, but did not confirm if there's been an arrest or give any more details. A lockdown is issued to keep students and staff safe when there's a potential threat near or inside a school. A 23-year-old man from Innisfil is facing multiple firearm-related charges in connections with shootings in Vaughan, Brampton, and London. Responding to gunfire on Lady Angela Lane September 10th, York Regional Police arrested the man after a brief foot chase with the help of a canine unit. He faces charges including discharge of a firearm with intent, possession of a weapon, and flight from police. Investigators link him to several shootings between August 18th and September 7th, where 125 bullets were fired. No injuries have been reported. The man remains in custody. Police are asking anyone with video or dash cam footage of the incidents to come forward. A 27-year-old man from Toronto has died after a motorcycle crash on Highway 11 in Oro-Medonte. It happened last night following what witnesses describe as a road rage incident. The other driver, a 37-year-old man from Bracebridge, was arrested and now faces multiple charges. The Premier says he won't change his mind when it comes to his plan to remove automated speed cameras from Ontario streets. His response after dozens of local mayors urged government to reverse its stance. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports.
It's a hard no from the Premier to 22 Ontario mayors. They'd hoped for a compromise on speed cameras, the ones the province plans to outlaw.
What's unreasonable is a total cash grab, and we know speed cameras do not work.
One of the mayors pushing for reconsideration insists
this is not about money at all. It's not about revenue. It is about safety.
Some of the tweaks the mayor suggested include running the cameras in school zones only, issuing a warning on the first offense, only ticketing during school hours, and setting a reasonable threshold speed to get a fine at all.
They slow people down, and when you get a ticket, the evidence shows that every single camera where these are deployed have registered a decrease in speeding.
Doug Ford unmoved with another approach to stop lead-footed drivers.
We're going to put traffic calming infrastructure, and that will bring it down to zero.
Singling out Toronto's most infamous speed camera that's issued 70,000 tickets worth more than $7 million in fines in 3 years.
Wouldn't you think someone would come up with common sense and say, okay, we're putting speed bumps on Parkside Drive, we're putting turnabouts?
The province won't help cover the costs of getting out of camera contracts. Ford calls the communities that want to hang on to them greedy.
They aren't worried about the safety of people. If they were, they'd start installing infrastructure.
Meade Ward says fines are being used to make streets safer and argues that's how it should be.
What he has basically said is that he's willing to tax people who obey the law, rather than making speeders pay for traffic calming measures.
Believers in speed cameras don't have tons of time to try and sway the Premier. The bill to ban them will be introduced when the legislature returns. It could be law in a matter of weeks. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Now we want to hear from you. Should the province ban automated speed enforcement cameras? Head to our website, ctvnews.ca/Barrie, to cast your vote in our latest poll. A fix is on the way for Innisfil's 7th line, crowned Central Ontario's worst road earlier this year. The town announced the stretch between Yonge Street and 20th Side Road will be fixed starting this month. The section east of 20th Side Road to Lake Simcoe will take longer to fix, part of a larger project to completely rebuild that road. The construction is expected to begin in 2027, finishing fall 2028. Now Luke Simard is here with our look at our first weather. Luke.
Well, Jack, it's been such a gloomy day out today, a complete opposite to what we saw yesterday. It's this perfect sweater weather that has finally arrived that we thought would arrive weeks ago. We've been blessed with some fairly warm weather, but will it be sticking around? Well, today, not so much. Let's go and take a look at first weather for this afternoon, this evening. And of course, it's brought to you by Presler Injury Law. Call 1-800-JUSTICE. Taking a look outside in Barrie right now, yeah, it's a little bit cooler out there, 14 degrees. That's kind of sitting where we usually should be at this time of year, and it's a little bit cooler out there. The wind's helping that out as well, just northwest, 11 kilometers an hour. Here's a look around the region right now. We're not seeing much warmer temperatures out there either. 16 degrees to our friends in the south, Toronto, 13 Mount Forest, 15 in Owen Sound, 16 in Parry Sound, 15 in Gravenhurst, as well as Orillia, and 13 in Haliburton. Taking a look at the radar and satellite, yeah, it's been quite the rainy day, and really that rain just kind of let up a few hours ago. We saw these rainy conditions since overnight last night and into today, kind of settling down here as the wind continues. So does these partly cloudy conditions that will be clearing into some sun maybe. Well, maybe some sun, Jack. You'll have to stay tuned to figure that out.
Thank you, Luke. Luke will be back a little bit later in the show. Now, concerns are being raised about the size of special education classes in Ontario. At the center of the controversy is a decision made by a provincially appointed supervisor. CTV's Beth McDonnell reports.
Felix is in grade 9 at Lucy McCormick Senior School. He was born with a rare genetic syndrome and has complex needs. His dad, Rodney Litigio, says his son's class has a teacher and 2 educational assistants. But if one of those positions were cut, he'd be nervous leaving him at school.
Like, how could I get on with my day knowing that, you know, he might be just left and no one's kind of like looking at his cues in order to figure out, is everything okay? Right?
He's one of several parents, along with elected trustees and NDP MPPs, who gathered at the school calling on the provincial government to reverse cuts the NDP says were made by the TDSB's government-appointed supervisor in September. The NDP says class sizes are increasing in downtown Toronto because 2 teachers from Lucy McCormick and 1 teacher from Beverly School were cut. And grade 9 enrollment was also cancelled at Hayden Park Secondary School.
Minister Calandra, Supervisor Gupta, and my friend Doug Ford, I urgently invite you to come to Lucy McCormick, meet our students and staff, and see the consequences of your decisions.
The NDP says at Lucy McCormick, some classes have increased by 2 students.
Leave them. When you have nonverbal students with high medical needs, you cannot cut corners. These are our children, and we won't compromise on their lives or their education.
The NDP's claims are baseless and untrue, said Education Minister Paul Calandra's press secretary in a statement to CTV News. This year, as our government has done every year since 2018, we have increased funding for TDSB, including an over $5 million increase for special education this year alone. The statement goes on to say the TDSB, like all boards, does a reorganization at the start of the year to account for differences between spring and fall enrollment numbers, and this year the impact was much larger because trustees significantly overestimated enrollment. According to 2023 TDSB data, Lucy McCormick had a capacity to accommodate 171 students, but a head count of just 63 students, giving it a utilization rate of 37%. But advocates say to take away support from the board's most vulnerable students is deeply troubling and cruel. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
A man from Bradford appeared in Barrie court today, facing shocking allegations connected to an incident this summer. CTV's Mike Arsalidis has the story, but first a warning, some details may be disturbing.
After politely declining assistance from duty counsel, Joshua Beiers Wilson addressed the court, saying he intends to represent himself, accused of murdering his mother. "I intend to represent myself," he confirmed. "More specifically, I intend to represent me." Confirming to Justice Stacey Nichols he plans to defend himself without a lawyer at this time. The case was brought before the Barrie judge as Beiers Wilson seeks bail in the Superior Court of Justice. He is automatically detained while accused of first-degree murder. When asked whether he intends to seek bail, Beiers Wilson told the court he has not been offered any terms for potential release. The 25-year-old is charged with allegedly killing his mother, Susan Beiers, July 31st inside their Bradford home. When police were called for a wellness check, an investigator said a body was discovered. Surveillance video recorded the moment the accused was led away in handcuffs. CTV News has learned Beiers Wilson had been previously charged with assault and assault with a weapon in September of 2024. And after being convicted and sentenced July 30th, Beiers Wilson was released from custody. The next day, his mother was found dead, and her son was back in jail, accused of killing her. The accused is scheduled to return to a Barrie courtroom in 2 weeks before Justice Nichols. The allegations against him have not been tested in court. Mike Arsalidis, CTV News, Barrie.
2 Freedom Convoy leaders have been handed conditional sentences for their roles in the mass protest that shut down Ottawa for weeks. Tamara Litch and Chris Barber were convicted of mischief. Barber was also found guilty of counseling others to disobey a court order. Both were given 18-month terms. The first 12 months, a house arrest, followed by 6 months with a curfew. Both must also complete 100 hours of community service. A grim anniversary today in Israel, 2 years since the October 7th massacre on the deadliest attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust. CTV's Heather Wright spoke with 2 Canadians about how life has changed since that day.
For many, there is a before October 7th, 2023 and an after. 731 days since life changed forever.
I couldn't do anything physically. I was broken.
Rayut Kadar grew up on a kibbutz in Israel and moved with her family to Canada 7 years ago.
Peace was a big part of my life growing up, and talking about peace and learning Arabic at school and talking about sharing future. And I don't know that that's something that will happen when I get to see it.
Her family has experienced anti-Semitism since the war in Gaza began. A swastika was drawn on her son's computer at school, and her family tries to avoid speaking Hebrew in public.
Why does people associate me with the Israeli government? All of my Israeli friends who live in Toronto, none of them support the government.
For Noura Sharab, each day begins preparing for the worst.
Every single day you wake up, you check your phone and check if your family's alive.
Sharab lives in Mississauga, but has aunts, uncles, and cousins in Gaza. Last week, she says 12 relatives were killed while waiting for food.
They were standing in line and they were attacked.
Leaders are meeting in Egypt this week, negotiating the terms of a possible ceasefire. Sharab says the plan put forward by U.S. President Donald Trump isn't perfect, but it's something.
The first thing that is at the top priority for anybody in Gaza right now is the stopping of the bombs that is raining down on them. The fact that they don't know when the next safe space is going to be.
As part of these ceasefire talks, Hamas has said it is willing to release all remaining hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. But there are other parts of the American plan that could be non-starters. Israel has said it will not end the war unless Hamas disarms, something the terror group may be unlikely to agree to. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, the anniversary of the October 7th attacks led a Canadian university to shut down today. Concordia University closed its Montreal campus over protests near the school. Thousands gathered in support of both Palestine and Israel. The university's president said classes were canceled as a safety measure after 2 people were arrested at a campus demonstration yesterday. A warm welcome at the White House as Canada's Prime Minister meets with U.S. President for a high-level talk on trade and tariff. It's Mark Carney's second visit amid growing tension over new tariff threats from Donald Trump. CTV's Mike Licouture is in the U.S. Capitol with more on what Canada is coming away with.
With a firm but friendly handshake, Prime Minister Mark Carney arrived at the White House for his working lunch with U.S. President Donald Trump.
We're going to be talking about trade. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things.
In a 32-minute Oval Office meeting, Trump called Carney a great man several times, adding he's confident they'd work through the issues preventing a deal on tariffs.
He's a world-class leader. He's a man that knows what he wants. And I'm not surprised to see that he won the election and won it substantially. And I would think he's more popular now. He's a good man. He does a great job, and he's a tough negotiator.
If he's a great man and you want to do a deal with Canada, why aren't you?
Because I want to be a great man, too.
Trump says the two countries are in a natural business conflict because Canada and the U.S. want to make similar things on both sides of the border.
It's a tough situation because we want to make our cars here. At the same time, we want Canada to do well making cars. So we're working on formulas, and I think we'll get there.
Carney said the two countries are competing, not in conflict.
We are the largest foreign investor in the United States. $500 billion in the last 5 years alone, probably $8 trillion in the next 5 years if we get the agreement that we expect to get.
Following the meeting, the minister in charge of Canada-U.S. trade updated reporters on how it went.
It concluded with the president and the prime minister directing us, me and my colleagues and the president, his cabinet secretaries who were there, Ambassador Greer, Secretary Lutnick, and others, to continue the conversation and to quickly land deals that will bring, we think, greater certainty in areas where the principal areas would be steel and aluminum and energy.
In a sign that work will be continuing, Dominic LeBlanc is staying in D.C. for the next 24 hours for more meetings. And this evening, Prime Minister Carney is having a working dinner with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Mike Licouture, CTV News, Washington.
Now, Carney and Trump isn't the only high-stakes showdown we're watching south of the border today. The Toronto Blue Jays will try to sweep the New York Yankees tonight as the American League Division Series shifts to the Bronx for Game 3. CTV's Sean Leathong is outside Yankee Stadium in New York. Sean, how does the field look there right now?
Well, the conditions are perfect right now. Slight breeze blowing in from right field as some of the Blue Jays are taking batting practice, but it's a beautiful day here in the Bronx. Conditions are perfect. We'll just see what it's like when several thousand people pack in here tonight at 8 o'clock when first pitch flies. We do know it will be a hostile environment.
Now, with the hometown team down 2-0, tell us about the mood in New York City today.
Well, it's funny because many of the fans say they are confident. They're very loud. As soon as we got here very early this morning, we were hearing it from some fans. But they know that the Toronto Blue Jays are a formidable team, and they have noticed the 23 runs that the Toronto Blue Jays put up in the first 2 games of this series. So what they're hoping for is that some of the big hitters like Aaron Judge manage to put a few over the outfield wall, here tonight because the New York Yankees seem to live off the long ball in the regular season. But for the past 2 games of this series, it's been the Blue Jays hitting them out. We all saw that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. grand slam in Game 2. So one Yankees fan I spoke to today said he's hoping that there is a considerable swing in momentum. We do know that the crowd will be hostile, but that hostile energy also shows that they are nervous because they know if it doesn't go their way, it's all over.
Now you're talking about that hostile crowd. Have you noticed any fans from Toronto who've been able to make their way down to New York?
There have been Blue Jays fans. We've talked to a few of them. We actually spoke to one Blue Jays fan who's wearing a Yankees hat inside the stadium because he's fearful of what the fans will do to him. There are a couple others who are wearing their Blue Jays jerseys loud and proud, and they're expecting to be treated as such. There was one man from Quebec City who we spoke to today who says when he goes to an opposing hockey arena, he's used to getting a beer shower when he's wearing the opposing jersey. He's wearing the opposing jersey here. He's expecting a beer shower, but he did bring an umbrella.
Now, we saw the rookie Trey Savage overwhelm New York in the last game. Tonight, it's veteran Shane Bieber on the mound. How much pressure is he facing?
Well, he's facing a formidable amount of pressure, but this is exactly where the Blue Jays wanted him to be. Remember, before the series started, you'd think Shane Bieber would be the probable Game 2 starter. They wanted to put the rookie Trey Savage on the hill in Toronto to give him the best possible situation, and he definitely delivered with going 5.1 innings of no-hit baseball. Shane Bieber, somebody who's won a Cy Young in the past, he's pitched well for the Blue Jays so far. This is the highest pressure situation they could possibly be in, but he is the guy they've picked for this, and they think he can get the job done.
So how is the energy different compared to a typical home game here at Rogers Centre down there?
Well, the energy is different because this is an elimination game. Now, there's somewhat of a festive energy around the Rogers Centre for the past couple of weeks as this team has ascended towards the playoffs. But here outside of Yankee Stadium today, the fans are energetic with that nervous energy, knowing that this is one game. It's a must-win game for them. If they aren't able to, the season ends. And this is a team that they'd hoped would be going back to the World Series for a second year in a row. They were a favorite to win the AL East at the start of the year. The Blue Jays won the AL East. The Blue Jays got home field advantage, and the Blue Jays are here with a 2-0 advantage going into Game 3.
All right, Sean, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Now, the Leafs are showing some love for the Jays.
What do you want? Let's play ball. Okay. Blue Jays. Blue Jays. Let's play ball. Okay. Blue Jays. Blue Jays. Let's play ball. What do you want?
In this new video, Leafs players can be seen cheering on their baseball buddies. Several players were spotted at the Dome over the weekend at the James home game. The Leafs kick off their season tomorrow at Scotiabank Arena against the Habs. The fans are hoping the Jays' playoff energy rubs off on their team. And speaking of celebrating, the County of Simcoe is honoring local efforts today for its Age-Friendly Recognition Awards. And that's where we find our Casey Colby, who's getting ready to host the big night. Case, what's this event all about?
Thanks very much, Jack. Yes, we're at Simcoe County headquarters, aren't we, Jane? Jane is with us. Jane Sinclair, of course, the General Manager, Health and Emergency Services. And we are here for a very special evening, an evening of recognition, an evening of celebration, an evening to commend those who recognize an aging population. We're all one of them, some of us a little older than others. And Jane, thank you very much for inviting me and asking me to MC. And I'm sorry Sarah wasn't available, but I appreciate the invitation. And why is this wonderful evening of celebration? Why is this so necessary? Why is it we're recognizing businesses in the area, but why is this so imperative?
It's a very good question. We're all getting older. And as we get older, our needs are changing. And tonight is an opportunity to recognize those champions, both businesses and individuals, who have done remarkable initiatives to support our older population. We see such triumph in communities supporting those that have come before us, those who have built our country, built our communities, those who are some of the most valuable members of our society. Our older adults, our seniors. Tonight's very, very special, and we're super excited to recognize and acknowledge and increase awareness across the entire region about the good work that's happening to support our older adults in the County of Simcoe.
And there's so much. I'm proud to be a part of this evening. I thank you very much. And on behalf of all of us who are aging, and we are all aging, I thank you very much for this wonderful invitation. I know that it's going to be a grand evening, that's for sure. And Jack, you're young for now, but hey, you'll get there, Jack. You'll get there. Back to you.
You look great for your age, Case. Coming up next, Georgian Bay goes pink today to support local cancer fighters. Find out how hand-painted pumpkins and sweet treats are making a big difference this month. Plus, for spooky fun, creatures and family adventures await you at Drysdale's Haunted Village. You're watching CTV News Barrie. Thanks for sticking with us. Let's take a look at what's going on around the region. Today in Georgian Bay, the annual Paint the Town Pink campaign kicked off.
This is one of the one-of-a-kind pumpkins by one of the local artists. People can then bid online. There's an auction, runs for 7 days, and it's a fun little program, and it kind of expands the whole Paint the Town Pink campaign.
Local communities in Penetanguishene, Midland, and Collingwood are flooded with pink in support of those fighting cancer. The campaign features a weekly auction of unique hand-painted pumpkins with proceeds helping cancer support programs.
Our membership now is getting close to 600 people on both sides of the bay. We've seen a lot of people coming through our doors. What we try to do is we bring people in and say, what is the need? What is the thing that you need support with? We provide some financial support, cover the cost of parking, the gas costs, and accommodations in some cases. A lot of people have to go out of town in this area. You have to go to Barrie, you have to go to Toronto. So what we do is we can help them with that.
Money's also being raised through pink cookie sales and the Midland Flyers special Pink Games on October 10th and 26th. The Halloween spirit's alive and well, howling at Drysdale's Haunted Harvest Village. Whether it's your first time celebrating or you're reliving childhood memories, Drysdale's has everything for a perfect fall day. Aside from pumpkin picking, there's plenty of spooky activities, including haunted wagon rides and a live magic show.
Once you're in the village, we've got a kids zip line, we've got face painting, sand mountain, we've got a bonfire with marshmallow roasting, and then of course there's the psychopath, our haunted wagon ride through the trail. There's a bunch of actors jumping out, scaring you. It's a good time.
The Halloween spirit is taking over Drysdale's Haunted Harvest Village every weekend right through to Halloween. A new art gallery has opened in Collingwood, focused on showcasing both famous and up-and-coming Canadian artists. Noma Gallery, created by artist Ryan Sobkovich, offers 3,000 square feet of innovative and thought-provoking artwork. The gallery features works by artists like Francis Muscat, sculptor Mark Pugamarty, and Colleen Sobkovich. Noma promises to bring fresh ideas and unique art inspired by a world of possibilities, and even some pieces made from Norwegian ice.
So these are high-resolution shots, close-ups of glaciers, and the ones up in the high Arctic and northern Svalbard are actually like some that have been around for several ice ages. Currently we're representing 10 contemporary living Canadian artists, but we're also going to be showing historical work. So we have artists such as Norval Morisseau or members of the Group of Seven will be getting original paintings as well. So in the future we're going to be actually doing historical exhibitions here as well.
The Noma Gallery in downtown Collingwood is open daily from 11 to 5. For information on more of our local events, along with all our other stories, you can go to our website. That's where you can watch our news live online and find all our local stories and breaking news as it happens. Just head to ctvnews.ca/Barrie or scan the QR code on your screen now. Still to come, he's 78 and still lacing up for love to help his granddaughter. Why a grandfather's hitting the pavement, but first, let's check in with Luke.
Well, lots of rain today. The sun's coming out tomorrow, but will we see those warm temperatures? We're gonna have to find out after the break. But first, let's go and take a look at our weather watcher, Archer. Archer, you're feeling the fall. You got some apple picking. We got a little bit of rain like we did today and the sun tomorrow. Archer, thank you so much for that picture. Stay with us. You're watching CTV News Barrie.
We're leafing it to you this week to show us your most stunning autumn shots, from golden leaves to homemade pies. If it screams fall, send it to picturethis@ctvnews.ca. Now turning back to Luke Samard.
Hey, Jack. Well, listen, first off, we set everyone up to send in the Leaf jerseys for this picture this, and no one has done that yet. So we'll have to wait and see if we get some Leaf jerseys in there. But it's fall, and it feels like fall. It is sweater weather outside if you are about to head out for a walk. It's a little bit cool. We saw some rain today. But the good news is, this is about the only day over the next few days that we will see that rain. So let's get right into that weather forecast now. We are going to start with those temperatures around the region. And yeah, it is a cooler one out there today with that rain. Partly cloudy conditions outside for most of the region. 13 in Mount Forest, 15 in Owen Sound, 14 as well in Alliston, of course, Barrie, 15 in Orillia, as well as Parry Sound and Toronto. So already getting a little bit more cool out there as the night progresses here. Today we did reach a high of about 17.5 degrees. So well above our average for this time of year at 14. Not as high as 1879, 27.2 degrees out there. And of course these days slowly getting shorter and shorter. The sunrise tomorrow will be 7:25 a.m. So a little bit dark out there as we head to work tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, let's get right into the radar and satellite, and you can see that system kind of making its way eastwards towards that Peterborough, Ottawa, and Montreal region, leaving us with some partly cloudy conditions overnight and into those sunny skies tomorrow. Really, you won't see a cloud in sight over the next 48 hours. It's very, very sunny out there. Meanwhile, we got to get to tomorrow. So this evening, 6 degrees is your low right through the region in Wasaga Beach, Midland, Orillia, Barrie, as well as Collingwood. 4 in Owen Sound. You could see that rain clear to partly cloudy conditions, and here comes the sun tomorrow. You're seeing 15 degrees right through the region, as well as Midland, Penetango, Sheen. A little bit cooler in Owen Sound at 13 degrees, but that sunshine will remain for all day tomorrow. Let's head right to York region. Overnight lows of around 7 degrees. You can see 5 in Orangeville. You're seeing partly cloudy conditions. Of course, once that rain does clear, you could see a slight drizzle here and there as well as you make your way into those overnight hours. Highs of 17 degrees tomorrow, and that sunshine really does continue right through the region. Newmarket, Richmond Hill, Georgina, as well as Bradford. 2 degrees cooler in Orangeville at 15. Let's go take a look into our northern friends. 5 degrees overnight, partly cloudy conditions for the most part. Once again, chance of showers, but a very, very low chance of that happening. Tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, you can get into those double digits, but man, is it cooling down out there. 14 degrees is your forecasted high for tomorrow, but that sunshine will continue. It's time now for a look at the Diamond and Diamond Lawyers 5-day forecast, and we've been talking about the sun, and that sun is really going to continue for the next 5 days. It's even going to warm up right as we head into the weekend through Simcoe County. You can see those highs of 17 and 18 degrees. So really those summer-like conditions not giving up just yet, but those overnight lows reminding us that it is in fact October. You can see a nice low of 1 degree tomorrow night as we head into the latter part of the week. Meanwhile, in York region, you can see your highs of 17 degrees tomorrow. Those sunny conditions right through to the weekend. Lows still into the single digits. Really cool tomorrow night and Thursday night before it does slightly warm up to about 7 overnight for the weekend with highs of 18 degrees. Now brace yourself. Literally brace yourself for if you are in Bracebridge, Gravenhurst, Parry Sound, Muskoka as well. You are seeing -3 tomorrow night. Get ready for that. You could almost break out the toque and the mitts if you have to, but not to worry. It is warming right back up into those double digits for the rest of the week. You could see highs of 17 degrees for Saturday and Sunday as well. So Jack, although it did rain today, we are seeing those fairly nice sunny conditions the rest of the week, but it is October. So remember, the sweater weather is here, so make sure you grab one if you are heading outside.
Sweater or a nice jacket. Now, stargazers were out and about last night trying to get a peek at October's full harvest moon. It was at its fullest just before midnight and was the first of 3 back-to-back supermoons that'll be happening this year. A supermoon is when the moon reaches its nearest point to the Earth, making it appear larger and fuller. The next supermoon is called the Beaver Moon, and it's expected to happen November 5th. The skies over Albuquerque, New Mexico are awash with color this week, drawing some major attention. The city's hosting the world's largest hot air balloon festival. About 500 balloons from across the globe are there for the 53rd edition of the annual event. They're creating a spectacular sight for locals and visitors alike. 78-year-old man is running to support his granddaughter in her battle against Lyme disease. He's doing it because most of her treatments are not covered by OHIP. CTV's Pauline Chan has the details.
Richard Nancaro has always been there to support his grandkids, so his recent 10K fundraiser was no surprise.
It's right up his alley to do something like that, but I'm really grateful.
Molly needs special treatments that are not covered by OHIP, so I'm trying to raise $5,000 or $6,000 or more by having this run and inviting people from my apartment complex.
Molly spends most of her days in bed, debilitated by Lyme disease.
We're not exactly aware of when a tick would have embedded in my skin.
The one time she ever saw a tick on her was 15 years ago, but she didn't develop the flu-like symptoms and extreme fatigue until 2 years ago as she was starting her nursing career.
It's been 2 years of seeing every specialist that we could see. She takes, I think, 40 supplements a day. She's had to do injections, IV therapies, lots of different medical appointments.
Mom Karen Nancaro says IV infusions have been the most helpful.
And the treatment can cost up to $500,000 outside of Canada. So we're doing whatever we can here. None of that is covered by OHIP.
Molly says Canadians often hear about acute Lyme disease, the bullseye rash, and getting treatment within 3 days of a tick bite.
Chronic or late-stage Lyme diseases, and it's basically a completely different disease. It can't be treated with just the 2 weeks of antibiotics. It's a lot more of an intense treatment.
As for her nursing career,
I do hope to get back to it, and I hope that I don't know, my understanding of being kind of on the other side of it and being a patient can make me a better nurse.
Recovery is slow, but Molly has her family by her side, with Richard planning more runs in the future. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Still to come, the federal government's taking a closer look at how Ontario spent millions in skills development funding. What's sparking the scrutiny ahead? Plus, we'll recap tonight's top stories. You're watching CTV News Barrie. Recapping our top stories, firefighters are holding a stubborn wildfire south of Gravenhurst. Local departments joined by Ministry of Forestry water bombers. Overnight rainfall helped turn the tide, but we're still expecting a couple of days of smoke in the area. A Bradford man intends to represent himself in court against a charge of first-degree murder in the death of his mother. CTV News has learned that Beiers Road Wilson was previously charged with assault and assault with a weapon, released the day before his mother was found dead. And Premier Doug Ford is doubling down on his plans to ban automatic speed enforcement cameras across the province. That in response to a letter from several municipalities calling for regulation instead. Ford says they're greedy and once again called speed cameras a cash grab. The federal government is now undergoing a due diligence review of funds it gave to Ontario through the Skills Development Fund. As CTV's John Woodward reports, this comes amid questions about how the money was managed and whether it was used as intended.
This is more than training. This is transformational.
That's according to this video by the King Animal Hospital about its grant from the Ontario Skills Development Fund to train at least 100 registered veterinary technicians in a luxurious campus north of Toronto.
We have a gym, we have 2 kitchens, we have a lounge area.
CEO Tracy Jones said in a statement, "We are addressing a critical workforce shortage requiring specific critical care skills, reducing turnover, and strengthening the province's animal health care system."
Keep going, Marmaduke. You can do it. You're a good boy.
The animal hospital hired a lobbyist to get that grant, something Ontario's Auditor General flagged in her review of the $2.5 billion fund that has been criticized for funding private skills training at bars, dentists, a bakery, even a casino, amidst a crisis in public colleges. CTV News looked at the data. We found at least $100 million in grants obtained with the help of a lobbyist. The lion's share, at least $82 million, tracked to one company, Rubicon Strategy, run by Premier Doug Ford's former campaign manager, Corey Tenike.
It seems, they're using this important funding as a way to reward conservative insiders.
Ford defending the program at the legislature today.
The Skills Development Fund is one of the best programs we've ever put together. It's created over 700,000 opportunities for people.
But Canada's federal government, which has provided funding for jobs training, says it's reviewing the report from the Auditor General. A spokesperson for Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu said, "We will also be engaging with the Government of Ontario on this matter to undertake full due diligence and seek mitigation measures to ensure funding is used effectively and transparently for our labour market agreements."
It's our money, it's on our budget, it's on our books.
Ford saying the grants are crucial for the province's economy. Critics saying they could be a whole different animal. John Woodward, CTV News.
Some new and negative numbers for trade in Canada showing we're selling less to the world, especially to the U.S. Canada's merchandise trade deficit grew to $6.3 billion in August, up from $3.8 billion in July. That's mainly because total exports fell 3%, while exports to the U.S. fell even more, 3.4%. Canada's trade numbers aren't the only thing in the red today. Let's take a look at how the markets are reacting. The TSX was down 180 points, the Dow was down 91, and the Nasdaq was down 135. In commodities, oil was down to close at $61.73 a barrel. Gold was up to finish at $40.04 an ounce. And our dollar was up, ending the day at 71.68 cents U.S. In business news, Cineplex is heading to court to fight a record $38.9 million penalty for misleading its customers. The company was penalized by the Competition Tribunal last year after it ruled Cineplex misled theater goers by not immediately disclosing a $1.50 fee for online bookings. The company is appealing the ruling, saying customers are told about the fee right away and can avoid it by purchasing tickets in person. A new book was released today chronicling the life of comedian John Candy.
What do you think? I hope we don't go to war.
Excuse me, stewardess, is there a movie on this flight?
John Candy, A Life in Comedy, dives into his career and the private battles he faced away from the spotlight. The book by Toronto author Paul Myers features interviews with those who knew Candy, including Dan Aykroyd, Catherine O'Hara, and Tom Hanks. Still to come, the wait's over. The NHL regular season drops the puck tonight. Who's facing the pressure and where to watch as the race begins for the Cup. You're watching CTV News Barrie. Now taking a look at your primetime lineup for tonight. At 8 o'clock, your CTV2 movie, A Sprinkle of Deceit, a Hannah Swenson mystery. At 10 o'clock, Criminal Minds, and CTV News at 11. The NHL regular season gets underway this evening. There are 3 games on the schedule. 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers are hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. Elsewhere, the Pittsburgh Penguins visit the New York Rangers, and the Los Angeles Kings are in Colorado to take on the Avalanche. The Leafs will be in action tomorrow. 2 Toronto siblings and baseball enthusiasts are already living a childhood dream, interviewing MLB players.
When I was old enough to go to games, I wanted to talk to real-life baseball players, and I thought interviewing would be a very nice chance to talking to MLB players. So that's how we got the idea of interviewing.
How old were you when you were old enough?
Probably 5 or...
Oh, so you've been doing this for a few years?
No, like we were. I was 5. When I was 5, I was old enough to go to games, but then we started interviewing when I was like 8.
The kids are even working on learning Spanish so they can interview players who don't speak English. Now time to check in with Luke one last time to get our Get Up and Go.
Yeah, Jack, well, it's already cooling down. I probably should have put on a jacket for this hit. It's going to get cool, it's going to get windy, but what will tomorrow bring? Well, those cool temperatures will continue, so you're going to want to make sure you have a jacket for tomorrow. But look at those nice sunny conditions out there. 7 degrees in Barrie, 8 degrees in Newmarket, 5 in Gravenhurst. If those cool temperatures scare you and you missed the main forecast earlier, we'll see some double digits by the end of the day tomorrow with those mainly sunny conditions. Jack?
That's our newscast for tonight. I'll be back on the desk with your news at 11. Until then, good night.